What if one phone call was the difference between fame and a lifetime of regret? 50 Cent is finally breaking his silence, and what he reveals about Lil Meech and Diddy's inner circle has shocked the industry. According to 50, Lil Meech was standing at a dangerous crossroads, rising fast, surrounded by powerful names, and unknowingly stepping into a world where loyalty comes with hidden prices. That's when 50 Cent stepped in his raw, no-filter style. 50 hints that he saw the warning signs: early late-night invites, quiet pressure, and a culture where young talent can easily lose control of their future. He claims he pulled Lil Meech aside and delivered a message that wasn't about money or fame, but survival. "This business don't love you," 50 reportedly warned, making it clear that not every opportunity is a blessing. Fans are now rewatching old interviews, noticing subtle tension, cryptic comments, and moments that suddenly make sense. Was Lil Meech being groomed for successor for something far darker? And did 50 Cent really shield him from a powerful circle that many are now questioning? This isn't just celebrity drama. It's a story about power, protection, and the cost of saying no in an industry that rarely forgives it. Stay locked in, because what comes next changes how you see hip-hop forever. 50 Cent has never been the type to speak in half-truths, or at least that's how he presents himself. For more than 2 decades, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson has built a reputation as a ruthless strategist in hip-hop, a man who survived the streets, conquered the charts, and later mastered Hollywood. So when he suggests that he stepped in to protect Lil Meech from what he describes as a dangerous inner circle connected to Diddy, people listen. Not because every word is proven fact, because 50's track record shows. He rarely chooses his battles randomly. Lil Meech, born Demetrius Flannery Jr., is the son of infamous Black Mafia family figure Big Meech. From the moment Lil Meech appeared on the scene, his life was already loaded with expectations, pressure, and public curiosity. He wasn't just another aspiring rapper or actor. He carried a legacy that many admired and others feared. When 50 Cent cast him as the lead in BMF, it wasn't just a business move, it was symbolic. 50 was handing Lil Meech a second-generation redemption arc, a chance to turn a notorious family name into a legitimate entertainment empire. But fame moves fast. And according to 50 Cent, it also attracts the wrong kind of attention in various interviews, social media posts, and cryptic remarks. 50 has hinted that as Lil Meech's profile rose, so did the number of powerful figures trying to get close to him. Invitations, endorsements, parties, and guidance offers began piling up. On the surface, this is normal in the music and film industry. But 50 claims that some of these relationships came with unspoken expectations that could trap a young star before he even realizes what's happening. This is where Diddy's name enters the conversation. To be clear, 50 Cent has not provided legal proof or detailed allegations in a courtroom sense. What he has done is paint a picture, one of influence, power, and environments where young artists may feel obligated to say yes when they should be saying no. 50 has long criticized what he sees as exploitative industry culture, especially when powerful gatekeepers surround themselves with younger talent. According to 50's perspective, Lil Meech was at risk not because he was reckless, but because he was too valuable. A young man with a famous last name, fresh success, and a hunger to prove himself is easy to manipulate. 50 suggests that he recognized familiar patterns he claims to have seen destroy careers before they ever fully bloomed. What makes this situation more intense is 50 Cent's personal history with Diddy. Their relationship has been strained for years, marked by public jabs, social media mockery, and underlying tension. Critics argue that 50's comments may be fueled by personal animosity. Supporters counter that his warnings should not be dismissed simply because of past beef. In hip-hop, enemies sometimes tell uncomfortable truths. 50 repeatedly emphasized that his role in Lil Meech's life was not just as a producer, but as a protector. He has described pulling Lil Meech aside for private conversations, talks that weren't about scripts, Kate ratings, or money. These were conversations about boundaries, discipline, and understanding the hidden costs of industry favors. According to 50, he made it clear that success without control is just another form of failure. One of the key points 50 alludes to is access. In the entertainment world, access is everything. Who invites you? Who vouches for you? Who can open doors or close them? 50 suggests that certain circles operate like tribes, loyalty-driven, secretive, and demanding. Once you're in, leaving is not easy. And for a young star like Lil Meech, being pulled into such a structure too early could define his career in ways he might later regret. Fans began connecting dots after noticing subtle shifts. Lil Meech appeared more reserved in interviews. His public associations seemed more controlled. He spoke frequently about discipline, respect, and listening to 50 Cent's advice. While none of this proves any specific wrongdoing by anyone else, it does support the idea that 50's influence played a stabilizing role. Another layer to this story is generational trauma. Lil Meech grew up watching his father's rise and fall, learning firsthand what happens when power is gained without protection. 50 Cent, who survived his own near-death experiences and legal battles, likely saw reflections of his younger self in Lil Meech. That shared understanding may explain why 50 felt compelled to intervene rather than simply cash checks and move on. Importantly, 50 has framed his actions as preventative, not reactive. He doesn't claim Lil Meech was harmed. Instead, he suggests he stopped something before it could escalate. In the world of celebrity narratives, that distinction matters. It shifts the story from scandal to strategy, from exposure to avoidance. Still, the internet did what it always does. Clips were dissected. Old photos resurfaced. Every interaction was analyzed for hidden meaning. Supporters praised 50 for being a mentor when others might have exploited the situation. Skeptics accused him of exaggeration, clout chasing, or stirring controversy to promote his projects. But one thing is undeniable. Lil Meech remains professionally aligned with 50 Cent. He continues to credit him for guidance, structure, and opportunity. In an industry where alliances shift overnight, that consistency speaks volumes. As Part 1 closes, the central question remains unanswered. Was 50 Cent exposing a real danger, or simply shielding his investment from competing influence? The truth likely sits somewhere in between. What's clear is that power in the entertainment industry is rarely straightforward, and survival often depends on who steps in before the contracts. Expectations and obligations become invisible chains as the conversation deepens. What makes 50 Cent's claims so unsettling isn't any single accusation, it's the pattern he describes. In Part 1, the focus was on protection and timing. In Part 2, the spotlight shifts to the environment itself, the culture of power, influence, and silent expectations that 50 Cent says young stars like Lil Meech must navigate carefully or risk losing control of their lives and careers. According to 50, the most dangerous traps in the industry are rarely obvious. They don't come labeled as threats. They come disguised as mentorship, access, and family. He has repeatedly warned that when powerful figures invite you into their inner circle, it's often framed as loyalty, but loyalty in entertainment can quickly turn into obligation. Saying no becomes harder. Questioning motives becomes risky, and walking away can feel impossible. 50 Cent suggests that this is exactly the kind of environment Lil Meech was beginning to brush up against. Not because Lil Meech went looking for it, but because success attracts influence. As BMF gained traction and Lil Meech became a recognizable face, his value skyrocketed. In the industry, value invites attention and not all attention is healthy. One of the most telling aspects of 50's commentary is his emphasis on control. He often contrasts his own business model with what he criticizes in others. 50 prides himself on owning stakes, retaining leverage, and keeping decision-making power close. When he talks about tribes, he's describing groups where the power flows in one direction upward. The people at the center benefit the most, while newcomers are expected to prove loyalty, sometimes without fully understanding the long-term cost. 50 hints. That he warned Lil Meech about how fast admiration can turn into dependency. Industry figures may shower praise, provide protection, and promise guidance, but that support can quietly come with strings attached. The danger, according to 50, isn't physical, it's psychological and professional. Once a young artist's identity, schedule, and opportunities are shaped by someone else's approval, freedom disappears. This is why 50 claims he drew a hard line early. He didn't want Lil Meech learning lessons the hard way through burnout, public humiliation, or behind-the-scenes pressure. Instead, he pushed discipline, limited access, controlled appearances, and a tighter circle. To outsiders, this might have looked like isolation. To 50, it was insulation. Fans noticed that Lil Meech began speaking differently in interviews around this time. He emphasized structure, gratitude, and patience. He talked about listening more than talking. While these changes could simply reflect maturity, supporters believe they point to a young man being coached to survive, not just shine. The broader reason this story resonates is because it echoes what many artists have said after their careers derailed. Time and again, entertainers have described being pulled into elite circles that felt exclusive and empowering. They weren't. The language is often the same. Family, love, we got you. 50's argument is that real protection doesn't demand emotional loyalty, it provides clarity and boundaries. Critics argue that 50 Cent's long-standing tension with Diddy makes his perspective biased. They say his warnings could be less about safety and more about control, keeping Lil Meech within his own production ecosystem. That criticism isn't without merit. In an industry where mentorship and ownership often overlap, motives are rarely pure. Yet even skeptics admit that 50's survival instincts are hard-earned. He didn't just observe the industry, he was shaped by it. Shot 9 times, blackballed by radio, sued, and nearly bankrupted. 50 learned early that visibility without leverage is dangerous. That lived experience is the foundation of his advice. What complicates everything is silence. Neither Lil Meech nor Diddy has publicly addressed these claims in detail, and that silence allows speculation to grow. In the absence of clear statements, narratives fill the void. Some see 50 as a whistleblower. Others see him as a gatekeeper. But both sides agree on one thing: the stakes are high by the end of part 2. The story becomes less about individuals and more about a system. A system where power is concentrated, youth is currency, and guidance can blur into control. 50 Cent positions himself as someone who recognized the system early and acted to keep Lil Meech from being swallowed by it. By the time the conversation reaches its final chapter, the story stops being about one warning or one intervention and becomes about consequences. 50 Cent's underlying message is not that Lil Meech was in trouble, but that many others were, and no one stepped in soon enough. Part 3 is where the cautionary tale fully comes into focus in multiple interviews and online posts. 50 has alluded to artists who entered powerful circles too early, mistaking access for protection. At first, everything feels elevated: exclusive rooms, influential friends, constant validation. But over time, those same artists often describe losing their voice, their leverage, and eventually their relevance. Careers don't always end with scandals. Sometimes they fade quietly, drained by obligations they never fully understood. This is why 50 frames his actions as preventative. He doesn't claim to have rescued Lil Meech from a specific incident. Instead, he claims he redirected him before the pattern could take hold. From 50's perspective, the real danger isn't one person, it's the system that rewards silence, loyalty without clarity, and dependence disguised as mentorship. Lil Meech's current trajectory is what 50 points to as proof. He remains focused on acting, selective with appearances, and publicly respectful but cautious. He credits structure, discipline, and guidance rather than overnight fame. In an era where young stars burn out quickly, that stability stands out. Still, the debate won't disappear. Some argue that 50 Cent is rewriting the narrative to position himself as the hero, Others believe he's saying out loud what many insiders only whisper. In hip-hop culture, truth often arrives wrapped in ego rivalry. An exaggeration making it harder to separate warning from warfare. What gives 50's words weight is timing. The industry is in a moment of reflection. Old interviews are being rewatched. Power dynamics are being questioned. Artists are speaking more openly about manipulation, pressure, and regret. Against that backdrop, 50's claims don't sound isolated, they sound familiar. The most important takeaway from Part 3 isn't about Diddy, Lil Meech, or even 50 Cent. It's about awareness. Fame accelerates everything: success, temptation, and risk. Without someone willing to say, slow down, young talent can lose years or themselves before realizing the cost. 50 Cent's final position is simple. Real mentors don't need blind loyalty. They teach independence. Whether people agree with his delivery or not, the principle resonates. In an industry built on influence, the rarest gift is protection that doesn't demand ownership. As the dust settles, one thing remains clear: Lil Meech is still standing, still building, and still in control of his narrative. And in a business where so many stories end in silence, that outcome alone keeps this conversation alive. If this story made you uncomfortable, that's the point. The entertainment industry isn't just about talent, it's about power, access, and the people who shape your path when the cameras are off. 50 Cent's warning to Lil Meech is bigger than celebrity drama. It's a lesson about knowing who really has your best interests at heart. Now it's your turn to speak. Do you think 50 Cent genuinely protected Lil Meech? Was he simply guarding his own territory? Is the industry finally being exposed? Or are we watching another chapter of long-running hip-hop rivalries play out in public? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let your voice be heard. If you've ever seen talent get lost because no one warned them in time, share this story so others can learn from it. Hit like if you believe young artists need real mentors, not hidden agendas. Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories they don't want you questioning. And most importantly, stay alert. Fame moves fast, but the consequences last forever. Don't just watch the headlines. Read between them. Read between them.